The reason why they're called three-dimensional shapes instead of two-dimensional shapes like squares, rectangles, circles, three-dimensional shapes have height, a length, and a width. So it takes up 3 dimensions. Okay, so a couple of terms that we need to know before we get started. One is the word vertices, and that would be the corners. Okay, so on this shape right here, you can see that there are 8 corners to this shape, so that would be known as 8 vertices. Then there's these lines that connect all the vertices together, and if you see they go from one corner to the other to the other. Those are called edges, and edges are just the lines. So if you look on this one, you have 4 on this rectangle on the front, 4 on this rectangle on the back, and then there's 4 of them that connect the rectangles together. So that's 12 edges on this three-dimensional shape. Then the flat parts on each side, those are known as faces. Some faces are different two-dimensional shapes, like this one is all rectangles that are put together to make this box. Okay, so the faces are the flat parts, the vertices are the corners, and the edges are the lines. Now the first one we're going to talk about is prisms. Now what a prism means is you have the same shape on the front and the back, and it's connected together by edges. And all the side or lateral faces, the ones on the side, are always rectangles. So this one, since there's rectangles on the front and back, this is known as a rectangular prism. Okay, and these are some rectangular prisms you can see out in the real world, and it's really just a box shape. Next we have a triangular prism. Notice there's triangles on the front and the back, and the shapes that connect those triangles together are rectangles. So that's what makes this a prism, so this is called a triangular prism. And if you notice, it looks like tents or Toblerone candy. The next one I have here is another prism. Now I could stand this prism right side up, so say something like this. Okay, and if I did that, it's still named after the shapes that are on either side of those rectangles that connect them. Okay, so this one, it looks like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided shape on both sides. So this would be known as a hexagonal prism. This next one, same thing. Rectangles are connecting together the front and back shape, or top and bottom shape, depending on how it's sitting. This one is known as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided shape on both sides, so this is a pentagonal prism. Next we have pyramids. Pyramids are like prisms, except only on one shape, or on one side is this shape. The other side is a point where they all come together. Okay, so if we take a look at this first one, we have a rectangle on the bottom. That's called the base. We have a rectangle on the base of this pyramid, and at every vertice of the bottom shape, they come up to a point at the top. Now with prisms, the side shapes were rectangles. In pyramids, the side shapes are triangles, always. Okay, so if I look here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices on this pyramid. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges on this pyramid. And then faces, there's 1 on the bottom, 1 on the front, 1 on the back, 1 on the right, and 1 on the left. So there are 5 faces. These are some rectangular pyramids that you see out in the real world. Of course, the famous ones are the pyramids in Egypt. Next one is called a triangular pyramid. Notice that the base this time is a triangle, and then triangles all the way around it to the point. So that's called a triangular pyramid. Here's some that I found online that are examples of triangular pyramids. Now this pyramid, notice it still comes to a point and there's triangles all the way around. The bottom shape, or the base shape, is what it's named after. So it looks like this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided base, so that is a pentagonal pyramid. This one is triangles all the way around to go to the point, and that's an octagon on the bottom, so this is an octagonal pyramid. Now we have some other 3D shapes that are not polyhedrons. Now polyhedron is just a fancy word for using polygons. And we know the rules for polygons. Got to have straight sides, got to be closed in, and at least 3 or more edges. So on this one, this is not a polyhedron because I can see right away that there are curved lines. So this one is known as a sphere, and all a sphere is just like a ball, a soccer ball, oranges, or the world. That shape is called a sphere. The next one, we have a circle on the base, and it comes to the point at the top. So this looks like a pyramid, but it's not technically a pyramid because it has a curved side. So this is known as a cone, and we see cones all the time in real world, especially with ice cream or construction cones, and teepees even are cones. And then the last shape that we are studying it's like a prism where you have a front and a back shape, but this one has curved lines again, so it's not a prism. This one is known as a cylinder. And we see them a lot in our society with cans, so pop cans, soup cans, any kind of can of vegetable or fruit. Those are all cylinders. Batteries are cylinders. Logs, if you find a circular one, is a cylinder. So those are all the shapes that we're studying in the 5th grade of three-dimensional shapes. Remember the terms that we talked about. There's one called vertices, those are the corners. Edges, those are the lines. Faces, those are the flat parts. And the last word was base, and that's the shape that the three-dimensional shape sits on.